The long-awaited third raid of old-school RuneScape, the Tombs of Amascut, is due to be released on the 24th of August, 2 weeks from the upload of this video. Today, we're going to have a look at everything we know based on official Jagex releases of concept art, weekly live streams, and social media teasers. Despite having some extra knowledge about the raid, I'll not be discussing any actual mechanics, only common speculative ideas to give some insight into the raid. In addition, we'll only be taking a short look at the raid rewards, as the main focus is to take a deeper look at the actual raid itself. Now, much of the concept art that we have seen has been closely imitated by the in-game artwork. One major exception being the starting lobby, which has undergone a significant readjustment of existing assets. The raid entrance now stands out, and it kind of has this menacing touch which I really like. Within the raid, there are 4 encounters before the final room. Each encounter consists of a path and a boss. To begin, let's take a look at Akka, the Guardian of Atm. In the human path concept art, we can see a combination of walls and mirrors, with text stating the walls may be broken, but the mirrors remain stationary. This may be similar to a light puzzle, or could end up being an entirely new type of engagement. There's been little confirmation of how any of the paths truly function, however it is speculated there may be a combination of traditional puzzles with potential for movement and combat-based puzzles as well. Each path serves as a precursor to the boss in some way, and is meant to offer a break in what would otherwise be a huge amount of non-stop combat. Akka has been described as somewhat of a giant, and is seen in artwork and in-game as being roughly twice the size of a player model. By scaling, we can presume Akka may well be a 2x2 NPC. Akka's concept art is extremely interesting, showing different styles. On the left, holding multiple spears, perhaps an indication of a thrown attack. Meanwhile, the in-game pictures suggest he has some protection against ranged and melee combat styles, although this can function very differently as both Calphite Queen and the Hunlift from Gauntlet have overhead prayers, but they do not work the same. The room design is even more interesting, with a circular platform outlined by some ascending count from 1 to 10 on both sides. With artwork showing a moon and sun either side of the room, symbols on the ground, and sand timers, Akka is by far the most intriguing of the 4 encounters, with many unknowns still to be discovered. The next path to look at leads to Baba, the Guardian of Atm. A bit more info on the encounters. You are able to choose the order of each encounter, and supposedly this has some knock-on effect throughout the remainder of the raid. This path has a clear monkey theme, with scattered bananas, a monkey statue, and various points of interest including holes in the floor and walls, as well as the supportive pillars. The actual artwork for Baba indicates she is undead in some form, leading many to believe salve amulets may play a part in the raid once again. In Baba's room, we can see this layered ascension with balls of rock falling down from the top. I wonder where they got this idea from. There don't seem to be many more hints as to what to expect from Baba. Outside of the suspected boulder dodging, it's really anyone's guess. Next up is Kefri, Guardian of Scabbarus. Honestly, I think it would make more sense to call it Scabbarus, and I'm praying it's not just a mistake. From what we've seen of the path, it almost looks like the most puzzly of all the paths. With distinct tiled symbols and sectioned areas, this was one of the earliest teasers of concept art. For now, it's kind of set the stage for what to expect visually from other areas. Kefri is found sitting atop her dung ball with concept and in-game art showing dung on the floor. It's safe to assume it will play a part in her attacks. Kefri's room is once again built with many open doors where NPCs could spawn in. However, apart from this, there's not really much we can say. I am a huge fan of tiled floors, as we have in the images, as long as they seem fitting. They're extremely beneficial for clear pathing, and newer content such as Gauntlet that requires good pathing tends to have tiled floors, so we may see some of that here. Finally, we have Zabak, the Guardian of Krondis. Best boy of Raid 3, my personal favourite design, and surely a force to be reckoned with. The path design has clearly been through many variations and improvements. It's good to see the likes of spear traps and acid on the floors, which may indicate a movement or trap-based path. The tree in the centre appears to be the focus of the room, with streams of water at the back of various trap-ridden paths. It's not exactly clear what the player needs to do, and again, no information is public about this. One interesting detail is in the form of what appears to be giant red salamanders roaming the area. The concept art for Zabak is really something, with one image showing Zabak leaping from the water in a body slam type attack. Unfortunately, for those trying to identify mechanics, this one is busted. As it was stated, this is a current impossibility within the game engine limitations. As cool as it would have been to see, maybe this one's for Raids 4, and it goes to show not everything you see makes it into the final version. Zabak's room doesn't appear to be as nicely formed as the other bosses, instead being a bit of a swampy mess with bones, debris, and a large central platform for players to fight on. While the mechanics were unknown, I will say this was one of my personal favourite rooms to test, and I have no doubts others will greatly enjoy fighting Zabak. This concludes all 4 of the precursor encounters within Raids 3. Information on the final encounter within the raid has been greatly withheld to prevent spoilers and really let people figure it all out with the element of surprise. As such, skipping over the final boss, we can take a look at the reward room concept art. In a striking colour change from the rest of the raid, you get a real feel of wealth and power when you enter. Concept art also suggests the purple colour indicating a unique drop will be carried over from Raids 1 and Raids 2. I'm quite glad this isn't going anywhere, as we've all become accustomed to seeing that light. There are 2 more things worth talking about, in order to shine some light on the difficulty of Raids 3, as well as how you may want to approach preparing for Day 1. Firstly, invocations. Invocations are a difficulty scaling mechanism. You can apply invocations of your own choice before you enter the raid. More invocations equals higher raid level. Depending on the raid level, the mode changes. 0 to 149 raid level counts as entry mode. 150 to 299 raid level counts as normal mode. 300 plus raid level counts as expert mode. 580 is the current maximum raid level, and at this difficulty it is widely speculated to be entirely impossible. Loot will also scale with raid level, and will receive a bump for each successive mode. Some items will only be realistically grindable from high raid level. This means at the low end, let's say with base 80 stats and 10 mil gear, you could absolutely do entry mode, and maybe with base 90s and 50 mil gear, you could do normal mode. Attempting expert and beyond, you would want to have pretty good endgame stats and gear. So, what do you buy for Raids 3? Gearing for Raids 3 is a little tricky. Many suspect it will be a mage-based raid. However, it's unlikely to use exclusively mage gear in the same way ToB is melee heavy, but you still bring other styles. Day 1 setups often consist of a good mix of gear, which then gets refined over time. As a word of advice, don't panic buy items based on speculation alone. As you've seen in this video, there's almost no confirmation of pretty much any information. A good strategy to buy items is to reserve around 1/3 of your gear budget for Raids 3 and hold it in GP, only then buying items when they've been confirmed to be good. I've also set up a Discord for Raids 3. The purpose of this Discord is to prioritize general resources and info, provide potential gear setups for Day 1 and going forwards, house verified records with full video proof publicly available, provide expert plus 300 plus raid level matchmaking, and then finally focus on chat channels, discussion and achievements and everything else. If this sounds like it interests you, then continue to join discord.gg/TOA. All of my links will be in the description. With this being said, thank you very much for watching the video. Consider subscribing to stay up to date with all my planned content for Raids 3.